And we are live. We welcome you to the Reach Circle Project. Yes, the Reach Circle Project. This is your home for independent business, positive vibes only, much, much more, and of course, community connection. This is being hosted to you by Mona Lisa's Lyrics LLC and Boston Entertainment Group Detroit and Boston Entertainment Group Detroit and Mona Lisa's Lyrics LLC. Thus the circle. Hey, Mona, we're back.
Hey, Happy New Year, everyone. We're back. I wish I could say I'm refreshed, but I'm back. Either way it goes.
Yeah. It was a good break for those that took it. We didn't really take one, but it's good break for those that took it.
So hard. I tried.
Yeah, it didn't matter because like every day is a new opportunity. So it's bigger than just one day. So we still got stuff to do. But Mona, wait a minute. We're not by ourselves. We're not alone. We got some extremely special guests. Who do we have?
Yes, our first guest is the beautiful, vivacious, energetic, world changer, Miss Laura Rock.
Laura, let's go!
Hello, what's going on?
Hey, Laura.
Pleasure.
What's happening with you today, beautiful?
I'm just taking it all in. I'm here to learn and listen and try to help and be an ally and figure this thing out and keep going forward because we got like you said, we got a lot of work to do still. I mean, it's just never gonna stop. And that is so true. Yeah. That is so true. And it's almost as if we're getting to the point where, with COVID and what, the current president and what happened yesterday is almost like you have to breathe. You have to force yourself to breathe through it because it may become an overwhelming situation. So for people, mentally, you're already dealing with losing loved ones to COVID, being scared to death, being isolated, you're alone, right? We can't really get together the way we usually do. And then on top of that, the stimulus went to some and some didn't get the stimulus. Yep. It's so much going on, but I just have to remind myself, calm down, breathe. Okay, right? Just like reset your mind, calm down, because it really can become overwhelming.
It's all about perspective now. It's all about perspective now. Like what we have, and I think this is almost more like a call out to citizens. Like, take a look at not just what's happening, but what didn't happen. So what happened? We know what happened. We got the mainstream. We got the mainstream reports. We got vivid camera. I think we're almost past that. I mean, there's some of us, at least over here in our camp, some of us are very numb to this. This is not even. The shock factor's wearing off from the COVID reports. Is like, by the way, so and so got either infected or they have some more damage from COVID. It's like, oh, okay, cool. So what's the weather today? That's the numbing effect. Removing the shock effect. But then when you see that individuals are scaling fences and saying hello to cops, taking selfies while they're walking into the Capitol building, when you see this type of thing, that becomes like, oh, okay, cool. The same old oppression exists. No big deal here. So citizens now have to take a stake and no longer just relax and say, oh, I'll depend on, hey, ready for this? What government? We'll get to it later.
Oh, my goodness.
What government do you really have now? Right. We're about this a millimeter away from anarchy. That's where we are. So
okay, before we really get into the meat and potatoes about it, let's introduce our second guest.
We got somebody else.
It's somebody else. Another world changer, small business owner, father. Can you say vivacious when it comes to a man?
No. It would be
not politically correct.
It would be energetic.
Energetic, Dante. Energetic community builder, Mr. Dante Williams.
Dante, what up, bro? Let's go.
Well, hey there, sir.
What we are here. We are here and finally arrived for 2021. And I appreciate you guys just having me on, man. I'm like I said, I'm just moving around a little bit, but I'm gonna get situated in a second. But definitely a pleasure to be here. And we got some big things already that happened this year, so I can't wait to share it.
Man, you know what? It's so funny though when you think about 2020 and how many people are saying, "Oh my God, 2020 needs to leave." Oh my God, I'm so sick of 2020. And then 2020 starts with the White House being taken out. What? It's like, wait a minute. So me personally, as I just said, I've had to, because I'm always going, I'm always moving, I'm always, whether I'm in pain or not, because as you guys know, I'm still recovering from neck and back surgery from my car accident, but I still have to, I'm a business owner, right? I'm a single mom. I got to keep it moving. So, I have to keep going, and then with what happened yesterday, I must say I agree with Tin when you said you become numb to it. And the part that I've become numb to is they would not have treated a minority group as well as they treated the protesters yesterday actually breaking into the White House. So, I mean, it's not my opinion. It's not my opinion, it's fact, right? We're not like speculating. We're not speculating on that fact. It's a fact. Okay, so I am now not surprised about it. I'm not surprised about the slaughtering of minorities. I'm not, it's sad when you get to the point where another story of an unarmed Black man, doesn't shock you. We care, we cry, we care, we help the family make it through it, right? But are we shocked? No.
You know what, Mona, and that's an excellent point to ping pong off of, because numb doesn't mean absence of feeling or empathy connection. It means expectation, not even expectation. I want to keep that out of here. It means anticipation, actually, to be clear. It's like, well, we know where we are. We're just wondering what's next. Now, the good news about being numb is now we can be focused, such as like what we're doing right now. We got community leaders. We are part of the solution. We're focusing on independent things we do. We're going to talk about it very soon, but that's the solution. I think the common citizen, and it's not about blaming the citizens. This is the piece of it for those that did feel disappointed. Disappointed in what? Disappointment means would be like, hey, we expected something else, right? we expected this great organization that's so fair to treat everyone so well. We would expect, I don't know, maybe when it was back in March at the Michigan State Capitol, where we had our friends with rifles and machine guns that said, hey, how's it going, Governor? We understand you're giving a press conference, but we're just going to stand out here with some AK-47s because we don't want to obey an executive order. Maybe that was a hint. Who knows? But see, when you see this plan over and over, that becomes, and just to give you a quote, if I'm not mistaken, it was Pelosi that's quoted in a lot of mainstream publications as saying, citizens, and I'm not going, it's not a direct quote, it's a paraphrase, but here's the gist of it. Citizens have now lost faith and trust in the democratic system and have lost trust in the government, right? I believe that was on an NBC telecast, right? Yeah. So, hey, big surprise. So now the thing becomes, what is our solutions? And we can discuss that as we go. We have some. Are we willing to do those solutions? What we doing? Because one thing that's really messed up, Mona, and for Laura and Dante, of course, what's really messed up is these things happen. And what happens? There's all this outrage, there's all this talk, there's all this plan. Then the clock moves forward. Then everybody go back to business as usual. Mm-hmm. We got, as long as that continues, you can enjoy more raids on Capitol buildings, more threats on politicians, and of course more, as Mona mentioned, slaughtering of minorities. You can enjoy more of that because we're not doing anything about it. We just get mad. We talk for a little bit. It's the popular trend. And then, oh, well, hey, I got to go to work now. I got to pay my bill. I got taxes to file. I gotta not wear a mask and be at a bar, even though I'm not supposed to be, so I can infect some others.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, Laura, let us get your take on a little bit about what's going on. And you know, I know you, and I know what mindset you're coming from when we're talking about
the norm.
race
It's
and you know, movements and things like that. So
well,
let me say that you're not a minority, right? So
yes, I'm a white woman. That is
oh yes, what lady? See, that's why I love you. Yes, she is a minority, darn it. Okay, so let me say, okay, skin color wise, right?
Yes.
When you see minorities being mistreated, what have you seen that like you're able to do to help the cause, or are you searching for ways to be supportive?
Well, I mean, at first, I definitely, when, you know, the Black Lives Matter movement started, I was like, I'm all on board. What do you need?
Right.
You know? And I felt like as a white woman, learning about my white privilege, because, you know, a lot of white people sit around talking about, well, I got this and I got 1/10 of that, and just, no, shut up, you're white. And you don't deal with this systemic racism. And so I did, first of all, wanted to be educated so that I could be a good ally.
Okay.
And then I was like, I want to hear what I can do in my community, because I live in Oak Park.
Okay.
Our community is 60% Black.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We the Black people in our community were not getting representation. And so I actually became a precinct delegate, and then I decided that I wanted to go to the specific areas in our community, which included Royal Oak Township, which wasn't getting any representation.
Oh,
and it
wow.
was almost 100% Black in that community. And they weren't even included in the Democratic, we had a Democratic club that they were a part of, but they weren't even included in the naming of.
What?
Oh.
Right.
What?
So it was just Huntington Woods, Oak Park, Huntington Woods, Oak Park, and what
Ferndale?
No, that was it. Huntington Woods, Oak Park.
Okay.
And so, but Royal Oak Township was in our area.
Okay.
But they just weren't getting included.
Wow.
People weren't going to their areas. And when I started going over there to canvas, because it was over by 8 Mile, I had a really hard time getting white people to come with me, because they were like, oh, it's by 8 Mile, right?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That is so odd. We have the same thing in our community, but in reverse. That's odd.
This is
in reverse, 10. You're right. Yep, in reverse.
And this is the Democratic Party, right? And so what I've learned being involved in the Democratic Party, being a precinct delegate, is that we've got some serious systemic racism in the Democratic Party.
What?
And now we just had this new thing happen with Sharon Person and her husband, Joe Person, who are both, we're going to be talking about this in Oakland County. It's going to be in the Oakland County meeting.
Okay.
The Oakland County Democratic Party meeting on, let's see, January. Hold up, I'll get the information for you.
Okay. Okay.
There's a Zoom meeting, and we want everybody to come because they have been, what Sharon Person was told, that she got nominated and voted for and sworn in as the vice chair for the Oakland County Democratic Party.
Okay.
First time ever, a Black woman.
Okay.
And then her husband was on the slate as well. Both of them have been the chairs for and on the committees for the writing the bylaws in the state
and for the group, the Oakland County Southfield group.
Okay.
So they were told right away before the chair even got into the office, Sharon Person was told that her and her husband, being married couple, even though there's other married couples that are white that are in there, if she got to have another position that she was already in, that would be giving her too much power.
But that is so odd. Just to comment on that real quick, because the phrase "too much power" is not. And Lord, you correct if this is incorrect. That phrase, when we first hear it, it's like, well, wait a minute. There's other legally married couples in there that are white or whatever, and they have. It's basically saying you'll be too close to the balance of the power, right? Would that be it?
Yeah, and the phrase of "too much power" is what everyone was focusing on. It's like, this woman has the white woman that's the chair now, the new elected chair. She has the power to elect and put in place in her cabinet or whatever. But the phrasing of her saying you and your husband would have too much power was a very racist statement to a Black woman. And
amazing.
So
amazing.
She's bringing it forward to the Oakland County Democratic Party. Now, this is what we're talking about, right? It's in our own party. We know that the base of the Democratic Party is Black folks, right?
Yeah.
We know that's why we won.
Yeah.
But we can't give you guys back anything. We can't give you the power. Like, no.
You know what that makes me think of? Not to cut you off, Laura. That makes me think of Malcolm X.
That's what they said. They were talking about that. They had
and actually in the movie, when Denzel played Malcolm X, I will never forget when
she was asked to retract that, because everyone said, maybe you made a mistake, you didn't know what you were saying.
You gotta give him a chance, right?
Yep. And she was like, nope, I'm sticking with it.
Okay. So Dante, you know what? Oh, go ahead, Laura. Finish your thought. I'm sorry.
Sharon and Joe are and some other people, including myself, are asking for her resignation before she goes in there. So
I think it will work too. I think it will work. Do you guys know about the recent, maybe over the summer in Ypsilanti, how they had to ask for the resignation of the city council? She was the head of the city council. She was a Caucasian woman, and she said a statement about, it was an African-American man trying to get a contract, and she said, I'm gonna vote yes, regardless of how I think, but I'm gonna vote yes, because I know if I say no, that it's gonna be a whole thing. The funny thing was, the rest of the majority of the city council for Ypsilanti are all African American, and they said no to him. So everybody said no to him because they were on business, not color of skin. They were talking about business. Does he deserve this contract or not? So of course she had to resign, even though she swore up and down, well, no, I'm not going to resign because I need to learn, because this and this and this. Oh, yes. She had to resign. So I'm giving it as an example of what's about to happen to the lady that you're talking about. If she thinks that she isn't going to, lose her position, wow. That's all I have to say. But Dante, what's your take on this?
I mean, honestly, and you guys can hear me.
Yes.
Cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. You're good.
So as a business owner, one of the main focuses and struggles that I faced is just getting capital, just being able to get capital for different things that we, want to do. And it's funny, and it's a quick little story, but so there's a company that looking to come over on the Grand River area. They're Caucasian, and I ended up coming into this location with a credit card. I used a credit card to put down on my lease. And from there, I just made it happen and start cutting some hair.
Okay.
And I'm talking to this particular group, and, you know, being privileged, if that's the word, you know what I'm saying? So where'd you guys get to find? Oh, you know, we went to Bank of America. You know, we were fronted 150,000 just to start with this. And, you know, our friend, you know, it's going to cost us about 1.2 million to do this. And I said, you guys get the funds? Oh yeah, they were waiting on us, and we got all the contracts and things situated. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I couldn't get $30,000. I couldn't even get $30,000. I've been here for 6 years. I couldn't get $30,000 just to put down on a land contract. And it's amazing. And unfortunately, I don't think they understand what white privilege is. And I'm not trying to make it a white black thing, because I don't go that route. I'm kind of like the black group in the room that's on business and the other people concentrating on color. I don't look at that. I'm looking at it from a standpoint of who's the best person for the job, for the money, for the financing.
Right.
And that was one of the major reasons why I started moving my business into the direction of working with entrepreneurs, because we'll sell our souls to get into a location because we believe passionately of what we want to do.
Yep.
But then the landlord will run us, you know, railroad us just for rent, regardless if it's working out. So I operate in a way that's saying, you know what, I'm not going to railroad you. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you all the benefits and all the chances you need to get your business successful, to understand whether or not you should be in business or not. Because sometimes we just don't want to be in business.
Right.
But focusing on what just happened, honestly, it's what I think it said, the chicken's coming home to roost was one of those statements.
Right.
And it really just showed that extreme, what they call extreme patriotism, could lead to just anarchy, and they're passionate in what they believe in. And it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. And if it was us, one of our groups,
oh my goodness,
they would have been, I'm sorry, they would have been shooting us down like zombies
massacred.
on the lawn.
No, wait, just to piggyback off of Dante, no, it's not a wood. This happened before now.
Yeah.
How many reports do we have from the 90s all the way up to the mid 2000s where wait, they weren't even called black groups. Can we go there? And we're gonna leave all the black stuff out. Every minority group that's even touched the White House, every minority group that's even gathered or protested near there. First, there were what's the reported phrase? We have to present a show of force so that in the case of an endangerment, we are protected. Repeat that statement now. Yeah. We have to show force. Now, where was the show of force? As we mentioned back in April at the Michigan State Capitol, where was the show of force? Mind you, hey, see this phone? Those cops yesterday, the same way that Dante and I would go ahead and say, what's up, bro, take a selfie, the same way Laura and I would do the same, they were taking selfies with the invaders.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Show us.
They weren't invaders. D.L. Hughley said on his show, they was not invaders, they were guests.
Right.
Yes,
right. Because of how they were treated. Because of how they were treated. You know, but see, that the reason why the word invaders is being used, because that's technically according to their own policy and their own law, that's what they were. You know, even though it's public land, the building is not publicly accessible. The land is, but not the building. You're not allowed in the building unless you're on official government business. So the question asked, what official government business was, and wait, before we go there, let's have some fun. We're gonna bring this to the top. The brother just said extreme patriotism. So extreme patriotism just marched on the building in the Capitol Center, which is the focal point of being patriotic.
Yes, sir.
And nothing was done.
Nothing. Nothing.
Wait a minute. That's a crazy patriotism.
I'm gonna tell you what shocked me. It shocked me when I saw not only that they were able to get to the White House steps, right? That's a shock.
Yeah.
But that they were able to actually bust windows out.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wait. Are they breaking in too?
Yeah.
I said, what?
This a movie. Like, this ain't real.
I said, how is it possible that they did not get shot even trying to come up the steps? Let's start at the beginning. They were able to not only come up the steps, but get close enough to a window to bust it out. Okay, and then
come on.
With their feet on the table.
That's the one out there. We go. That's the one. That's the one.
Yeah.
That one guy like carrying out the podium. He had that picture carrying out the podium. And then when you saw them, the cops, they opened up the barricades for them to come. And that one guy was going, come on.
Wow.
They were inviting their guests in.
Yeah, inviting their guests in. Yes, they opened up the barricades and said, come on.
They're guest invaders. See, and the reason why we keep switching terms and stuff, because Dante also brought up something about the financial institutional racism. So, because here's the thing, and of course, a lot of these become rabbit hole conversations. It's not even just, see, when we look at something, we're looking at something based off of merit, off of return. We're looking at things on the technical definition. You say business, you have a bill, I'm ready to pay the bill, I'm prepared to go into business, I'm prepared to do business with you.
Right.
Unfortunately, that has little to do with why they give loans or grants out. It doesn't matter. Honestly, they are the fiduciary. They are the funding source, right? Yep. So now it becomes, well, wait a minute. If that's not what it has to do to where you could get a viable thing, they're like, yeah, we know we can get money off you, and here it is. But we rather get money off you in a certain order. You're out of order to be like Dante mentioned the loan thing, and of course Laura also mentioned some things of activity too. We rather have this thing go in order to where we want you at a job. We don't really want you to be a director. We don't really want you to be, if you're living in Royal Oak or whatever. We know you're here, but if we put your name on this, our franchise that reports to our greater company may have a problem with that involvement in that order.
Yep.
That's really a big piece of what's not being talked about or done. Yeah, we get the sensationalism of the invaders, guests coming in. We get the sensationalism of the security breaches. But what the citizens really got to take a look at is an entire structure and the order it wants to exist. That's what they're fighting for. That's why they let certain people do certain things, other groups not. That's what they're fighting for.
Well, I'm shocked that today we did not hear that the entire security division assigned to the White House, the Pentagon, were not all immediately fired. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Because if I was Biden, let's be real. If I was Kamala and Biden, I'd be like, okay, I'm sorry. But all of them gotta be replaced before I move myself up in the White House. All of these people right here gotta go. Absolutely. Gotta go. Because they allowed
this
a takeover of the White. Oh no, man.
But wait. The reason why, and we talked about numb earlier, right? We talked about the numb effect. Here's the reason why not to be shocked. Let's not forget that, first of all, we already have a veto of a president that wanted to do certain things. Like even Trump got vetoed, right? With the defense budget that was also in there. Now, why did Trump, now people talking about the president is the highest office in the land. He's the leader of the free world, unless he does something that the Senate or the House don't want him to. And that's just a written thing. Let's go here. You want to really get ugly? Why would we be shocked at that? A lot of those things that would take for Kamala Harris and for Biden to do, that's if they have the power to do it. Don't be deceived.
Yeah.
For them to fire that security, you know what would happen? All of a sudden that security say, well, wait a minute, there's a process. There's a process to fire us. We understand that We understand that we did a mistake, or no wait, we understand that we may have done some actions in the view of others that could have been a mistake. But however, we still have rights to protect of our employment. So we have to go. Here it is. We have to go through court system. We're done here. We've seen this dance before, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
People get slaughtered by cops. People get slaughtered by cops. What is the cop that get accused? Before you fire that cop, guess what you got to do? You got to go through a court system. Hold on. We've seen businesses that do crazy stuff to certain minority groups. We just talked about the institutional thing, right? Before they get, look, one of them is Chase Bank, but we're not going to do that. We'll be here till 10 p.m. Anyway, but before these people get punished, they got to go through a court system. Dang well, that same court system that exonerates and rewards the death of minorities, that exonerates and rewards the abuse and oppression of minorities, they're not going to say, oh, well, you know what, we endorse the cops getting fired. They're going to put them back on that job, and they're going to say, look, because of that, you guys are going to be the specific security detail over Biden and Kamala. Basically a death warrant. This is your death march right here. That's what they will do. There's no shock here.
Yeah. It felt like, it really did feel like they were told to let them in.
You know what? You're absolutely right. That's a different take on it. You know what, Laura? You're absolutely right. It did look that way. It did.
If they would have went ahead and impeached him and arrested him, because he is a criminal, we would
well-known fact, right? Yep.
Past us. We know he's a liar. He's a criminal. Scratch a lie, find a thief. All that. So hey. We're living under a system that for us, at least for me, I've tried my best to manipulate in a way that it works for my family. It doesn't ruffle too many feathers, but I can advance in a way that we're comfortable enough not to really ask for too much. And it's sad because I have to be that way, and not to for too much, but yet not give too little. Hey, I got the 800 credit score, but I don't want too much money. And it's crazy.
What's that one movie that the guy from The Coup did, where the telemarketers had, I don't know if you guys saw this one, but they had to put their white voice on.
Oh, yes. I know what you're talking about. They had to put their, yeah,
because we had this guy, our exterminator, Rodney. He called me and he's asking me about this or that, and then he shows up, and I'm like, you do not sound like you on the phone, and he's like, well, a lot of people, I sound a little white on the phone.
Yes. Yeah.
I was like, he goes, I have clients out in West Bloomfield. And I said, you're fine. Cause he was like, is it okay if I come in? And I was like, yeah. Come in. Everybody come in. He's like, well, he's like, cause I go out to like Rochester and I got ladies like peeking out the window when I come up to the front door, and then I'll call them and say, I'm here. And then they just say, oh, I'm not home.
Oh,
and he can,
what?
Yeah, they won't let him in because they thought he was white on the phone.
Yeah. And Laura, don't get it twisted, Laura. You friends with us, so you ain't out the woods yourself. You're guilty by association.
Believe me,
hey.
I know.
But it's all love, because no matter what, man, we got to get there together. And I think
I have white privilege. I have been pulled over by the police and let go many, many times, and never, ever, ever did I think for 1 second, not 1 second, would I get shot or hurt or harmed. I never thought that.
And that's all we think about.
Yeah.
That's all we think about, whether we're women or men. That's the main thing. When we're pulled over, that's like the first thought. Like, oh my God. Our anxiety automatically starts when we're pulled over. It automatically starts.
Now you probably my fault. Go ahead, Laura. No, go ahead, Laura, please.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be an ally and just show up and do what I can do.
And actually, Laura, that's a key part of this fight. For most will break it down to color, and it's only color because that's what an enemy or an oppressive system will use as an identifier. But see, what also is a piece of it is a mindset, and a mindset. Like there's a lot of people that even have this so-called color that really serve the other agenda. That's a whole other discussion to have. Also, but those that may have a different color than us can be allies as they take our lead. And I think what you just said is exactly that, to where, okay, if let's say you're on the peripheral of this, and not saying peripheral as far as action, but as far as understanding, like, look, there's something I want to do. Actually, if you see me going to this phone a lot, there's a lot of people texting on that, like, man, what do we do? The main thing we say as a company is the first thing to do, take our lead. Let us guide you to what would help us. Don't just pop in and say, well, we did this because we thought this would. No, that's not it. Let us be the directors. Because also first, even while we're doing that, this is all happening simultaneous. We're saying, look, take our lead, but we're solving some things internally, similar to how the Democratic Party has internal issues, and any group will have internal issues, but the Democratic Party has some severe internal issues, as we discussed. Well, we got some extra severe internal issues within these minority communities that really only we can solve, So while we're solving that and getting alliances, we say, okay, look, we're taking care of this. Here's what you can do. Do you agree to do it? We're not ordering you. It's not about superiority, inferiority. We're saying because we're guiding, and we also are protecting you, because we've had too many allies that'll maybe get some bad guidance or maybe get the wrong type of context. They'll be sent out there by these individuals, or they just go on their own. And all of a sudden, they don't get trapped up in something, and now they have taken a big step back. To avoid that, is like, look, we're on the inside of this. Here's what you can do. If you agree, we got your back. Now we're going to go back home, and we're going to go and say, now look, this is what we got to do. Now who's with this and who's with that? Simultaneous.
Yeah. Well, let me say what I think is the best thing that a person who is not a minority, right? I think, or as far as color, I think the best thing that can be done is changing the narrative of the conversation. And what I mean by that is when someone who is not a minority, when someone is spreading hate or saying angry things and stuff, just, against minorities, when they're doing that, the best thing a person who is privy to that conversation or social media post your best defense is to speak against that. So if more and more people who are not a minority start speaking against it, right? Start speaking against it and show it with your actions too. Don't frequent their businesses. If you hear a business owner and he's at his place of business and he's spewing racial, hatred, would you go back there? So the best thing to do is to be like, oh my God, I cannot believe you're saying this. I'm going to make sure me and my friends never come back here again. So it has to be a unified front. It can't be a silent front from people who are not suffering from it. So that's my opinion. That's a start for it. I think that's something that everyone can do, is not taking you out of your comfort zone. You're on social media, you see a hate-filled post or something, speak against it. Speak against it. Don't be afraid to say this isn't right. And to me, that helps immensely.
It does. It really does.
Collaboration with a party or anything. It's really just being on the right side of being right. Just treating human beings like human beings should be treated. And everybody got a Bible. Everybody got a Bible. And at least one characteristic that you can see there is the fact that you want to treat somebody like you should be treated. At least that. And if you can't get over that, then, we really got a serious problem in this country.
Yep.
I agree.
The basics, you know, that's an excellent point about the basics. A lot of these things, they may get complicated, but they're not complicated. They only get complicated by those that want to cloud the simple. I mean, the simple, as Dante just said, the simple fundamental choice just to be a decent, even if the technical or the detailed part of being decent may differ, but the basics don't, such as this. If genuine human respect, I'm not going to cause you harm. I don't wish harm to come upon you. I wish you to, you know, get home at night. I wish you to have the freedom to exist. Things like that. Well, that's something that we can easily exchange, you know, things like that. And also, here's another thing, and this is to piggyback off what Mona said as far as the dollar and addressing the narrative. Energy is at stake here, you know, for those, not just for those that are not, you know, minority looking, I'll say that, minority looking because of the identifier, but for anyone, if you see something that is full of negativity or full of vitriol or whatever, or just bad stuff, you want to go blatant with it. If you see anything like that, really, not only is it your dollar, but it's really the attention you give it. Yeah. So that means subtract your attention and watch it fade down. It may not fully disappear, but it'll lose its power. Where we give energy is what we feed power to. We don't. We control that. That's a choice of power. You know. Yeah. One last thing, not to be wordy, but one last thing is now individuals got to critically think for themselves. You got to think. You got to add these things up. You got to use what morality you have and become active in it with that type of energy also. You have the right to criticize, for example, propaganda you see. You have the right to criticize when you hear a politician speak. You have the right to criticize and critically break down anything you see from an established set of organization, not just government, but a big business, whatever the case is. With that, now that becomes your individual role that you can achieve to be part of a solution. Instead of just laying back and saying, well, this guy said it, you know, and you know, this the position he's supposed to, I'm going to just automatically roll that way. Because a lot of those people at that protest, here's the scary thought.
You call that a protest?
They wanted to do that anyway, a lot of them. Because when you hear a command, let's not forget that Trump is reported as to giving that command for them to do it. The same way he's reported as, well, now let's do peace. That's some really weird, crazy, and there's another word I want to use, I ain't gonna use it, but y'all can figure it out. I just say wicked. That's some really weird, wicked type of stuff. Let me incite you. I want to
Let me incite you, right?
Right. Yeah. I want to incite you. Hey, be sure you do this. If I don't get what I want, and that's what this is almost what he said, right?
Yeah.
How about this? What he's reported to say. If I don't get what I want, this is what you should do. You know, they're stealing it from us. It's ours. It's a landslide. But you know, you guys follow me. I want this. If I don't get it, then let's be sure that, you know, there might be a race war. And that's not me saying that. He said that.
Yep.
According to mainstream reports. Google it. He said that. Also, wait. So now these individuals that weren't critically thinking, that already had some crazy thoughts in their mind, possibly, it's not for me to speak on the mind, but there's some evidence there that had all these thoughts. They're like, hey, you know what? The guy we follow, the guy we look up to, he said, go do it. Then this same dude is going to say, oh, by the way, on my Twitter, you know what? We got to have peace now. Let's be sure we're peaceful. Let's be sure that we come.
After windows have been broken out, people have been killed and shot. Gas masks are needed. Now let's back off.
But wait, that only happened because the followers, those citizens, wanted to do it. But here's the point. They didn't critically break it down. Like, hold on, bro. I follow you, Trump. But you want me to gather me and my brothers, get some machine guns and some tear gas on a Capitol building just because you didn't get what you want? Nah, I'm going to pass on. You cool and all, bro? I'm going to pass on that. I holler. Where was the button? Where was the click? There was too many people just like, Trump said it, I'm going to do it. Bang. Or Trump said it, I'm going to do it. Break window. Trump said it, I'm going to do it. Think for yourself, people. You use some sort of brain. Just think for yourself.
And you know what? I think that's a great way to that's a great segue into breaking off from this conversation into the great things that Dante and Laura do in the community. Yes. But you know, individually being responsible for your own actions is ultimately what's going to bring about permanent change. Individually being responsible for your own actions. If you're the one that's inciting hate, if you're the one that's inciting a mob, if you're the, you know, if you're the reason why these people who clearly needed a leader or a reason to act out the way they did, they needed a reason. If it's you who's leading them, okay, should some action be taken against you? Because you are the reason why. You're the reason why it's been fashionable for the last 4 years to be outright prejudice. Should any action be taken against you? Because it's just the norm in our society now for our Black kids in school to be now, you know, shown outward prejudice, because it's now, you know, it's now fashionable now. It's not just us, it's not just the adults, it's our kids who are suffering too. The kids are suffering too. So the last 4 years have been a complete disaster. The mindset of the world has changed to a hatred of others mindset. And the only reason why people like the four of us right now have been able to survive is because our hearts, our minds, our needs have been completely different from the people who have been spreading hate, right? Like our reason for being here on earth is totally different from what their reason is. And, you know, so we have like a lot of weight on our shoulders now, because since we know that we're different, since we know that we're not inciting hate, that we know that we want to build together no matter what color you are, it brings about the whole, you know, it's now our responsibility, you know, to bring about change.